So this is Joe Leigh here for Seconds Out with legend of the sport, Ricky Hatton. We're currently at the Hennessy Sports Show for Brett McGinty. I'm not sure when this is going to go out, so we won't talk about the fight on Saturday, but what are your plans for Brett in the future?
Well, mainly like any prospect, and especially bearing in mind the COVID situation, is to get him out as regular as we can. So he's earning, he's learning. He's still only 20 years of age, so I think that's the way forward. I think I believe he's fighting again in July, which would be fantastic. The fact that bearing in mind the COVID position that we've been in, come July he'd have had 3 fights. I think that's credit to his management team and to McGinty for doing that. So for me, for the rest of this year, if we can get another 3 or 4 fights in before Christmas, and maybe even come the end of the year get an 8-rounder in, then maybe we can start looking towards titles. But obviously I speak for McGinty and his management team. We'll make the decision together, but I think we're all in the same frame of mind that we just want in regular fights, bit by bit, and if we can use this 12 months going through the different styles of journeyman and different types, I think if we can have like maybe 6 or 7 fights under his belt, I tell you what, he couldn't have had a better year than that.
What do you think, when you said 8-rounders, how soon would you potentially get into that by the end of the year, you think?
Well, it all depends on how his fights go. He obviously did a 6-rounder in his professional debut, handled the pace really, really well. I'd like him to have his 4-rounders tonight, another 4-rounder in July. Then maybe go back to the 6 rounds, couple of 6-rounders, and maybe if we can get another 8-rounder in before the end of the year, or another 6. I think. I've no worries about Brett's stamina, because I know what he does in the gym with me. But I think it's always nice for a confidence boost and mentally for the fighters to sort of ticks the box, got it in the bag, so it puts the mind at rest. But I think I'm not concerned about his conditioning and stamina and work rate. I just because he's so young, we all want to do everything at the right pace.
What is the main thing you focus on with the young talent that you have?
It's everything, really. He's got to tick a load of boxes like we all have to do. We all have to prove our heart, desire, chin. He's got to show his boxing brain in order to work fights out and take the advice on in the corner. Which that's you don't get that. It doesn't take you don't do that in 1 or 2 fights. You do it over a longer period. But bit by bit, he's ticking all the boxes along the way. Last time in his last fight, he was boxing absolutely fantastic. He switched off a little bit, got caught with a couple of haymaker swings, but we are forgetting he's still a novice. And that happens. But I think he just needs to be a little bit more switched on Saturday, and then
He gave John Hedges a tough fight as well, his opponent on his pro debut. He was a tough, and he was late notice, I believe.
Yeah, and John Hedges was a lot heavier than him. But he was winning the fight, comfortably. But he got caught with a couple of shots, just switched off a little bit. But that's the type of things we've gone back to the gym working on. And trying to put right. And that's that's what this is your apprenticeship. It's about making the mistakes. If I've got a prospect that I'm patting him on the back after every fight, saying, "Well done, you've done nothing wrong," then we're struggling, aren't we? But the fact that he did so well in his debut, and there's still so much to do, makes me excited as his trainer.
What do you think stands out from a personal perspective as yourself as a trainer, like that other trainers don't do? What do you think's different that other trainers don't show their talent?
Well, I think you've got to train the fighter to his strengths, and Brett's strengths is he's very exciting. He comes forward. He's a body puncher. He's very attacking minded. But like I was. But mistakes I made in my career was sometimes I was a little bit too attacking minded. Therefore, I used to get cut. I used to get caught with right hand punches and that's what I think has made me a good trainer. I've learnt from my mistakes as a fighter. With what I was doing, I could have worked a little bit more on defence and a little bit less on attack. And try and find the happy medium. And I think that's what I do as a trainer. I think I've been very fortunate. The mistakes I made as a fighter is going to benefit my lads as a trainer, really. Try and tick all the boxes, really. But I'm more of a father figure than a trainer as well, to be honest with you. You know, I mean, it's not just what they do in the four corners of the gym, it's what they do when they leave the gym. I mean, if they've got personal problems outside of the gym, you know what I mean, I like to think for me sins, because I've witnessed so many good things I've done in boxing, and I've done so many bad things in life, you know. I've got the answers for everything, you know. I'd like to think so, and I think that's what I'd like to think makes me a decent trainer.
So you've got a good personal relationship with him as well?
Yeah, I can't train anyone I'm not fond of. I'm very fortunate that I'm one of the few boxers with so many sad stories that boxers have lost the money and, you know, and pissed the money away, you know, so to speak. But I'm very fortunate that I've done all right with my money, and the lads know that what advice I give them, or what if I accept a fight or give them advice, I'm not doing it to pay me rent. I'm making the decision. I'm there for them, not just, you know, it's not just a check. So that must be very reassuring for the boxer. You know, if I need to be me lecky paid or something like that, you'd probably be more inclined to accept a fight. You shouldn't. I think that's the point I'm getting at. They know that. I like to think they know I'm there for them and them only. Yeah.
The big news in boxing the past week has of course been AJ versus Fury. It's now under threat, the biggest amount of threat it's been in. It's been on the ropes for sort of 4 or 5 months now, but in the last week Wilder's won the case against Fury, and it looks like they're having a third fight.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. No disrespect to Deontay Wilder. I mean, I thought Tyson beat him by the narrowest of margins in the first one, got a draw, absolutely destroyed him in the second. I know Tyson's got to be careful in the third match because Deontay can punch, but I mean, I think if you ask any fight fan, even Wilder fans would probably understand where I'm coming from with this. Why would you want to watch? You know, we've done the Fury Wilder thing now.
Do you think it's dangerous though?
I think
for Fury.
Pardon?
Do you think it's dangerous though for Fury? He could overlook Wilder.
Yeah, very much so.
What do you think about Anthony Joshua? Because he seems to have got a bit frustrated over the last week.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, do you? To be honest with you, I think both of them want the fight. And I think if the fight doesn't happen, it won't because of the fighters not wanting it. I think it'll be politics, which is always the case in boxing, which is a shame.
But as for the Fury versus Wilder fight, it seems like it's cemented to July 24th now. If AJ was still to happen, do you think it could happen this year?
I don't know. I think if Wilder and Fury goes ahead, I think it'll... I mean, I suppose there is a chance it could happen at the end of the year, but I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, to be honest, we've been talking about this fight for 5 years now, and even though I'm a trainer and a former world champion, I'm still a boxing fan. And when you think out, you know, I know a lot of fights big fights like that do take weeks of negotiations, but I mean, God, you know, it's been about 5 years, and it looks like it's going to be another 12 months. You know what I mean? Some people who have a professional career for 6 years, they've been talking about this fight for 6 years.
Yeah, and in terms of like where it's going to be staged, it looks like it would have been Saudi. What do you think about that? Because obviously you've been a boxer before, you've been in the biggest fights in world boxing. Would you have at the time, if you were offered 20 million more, it makes sense for the boxers to go to Saudi and to get more money?
It does really, but I mean, if someone offers you a lot of money, I don't blame the boxers for going for it, but I mean, they haven't got a choice anyway. We can't have it in England, we can't have it at Wembley. That fight should be at Wembley in front of 80, 90, 100,000, but in the ideal world, you know, you can't blame the boxers for going to Saudi Arabia because they can't go anywhere else at the minute, you know, so we can't, you know, I mean, you know, the main thing is for British fight fans is the fight that especially with it took so long to negotiate, especially with the COVID situation. I think we thought we were going to lose out on it, but I mean, if it's Saudi Arabia, it's Saudi Arabia. At least it's happening.
Would you head out there for that one?
I think I probably would, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be one of the biggest biggest fights in British boxing history. So, who would not want to be there? Yeah.
Do you reckon you could get Campbell on it?
You never know. I'm hoping Campbell would be on it. I mean, Eddie's done really good with him. You know, he's been on such a big stage. You know, already in Gibraltar with
Rumble on the Rock,
Dillian White and Joseph Parker. You know, and then he boxed at the Manchester Arena in his last fight. You know, so he's fighting on the big stage, and he can't get bigger than that. We'll just have to wait and see.
Talking of the big stage, Manchester City versus Chelsea in Porto. Not too long from now, just over a week. What are your predictions on the Champions League final, Ricky?
Well, I think You know, Chelsea, I mean, when we played Chelsea, I don't think we've played our best 11. I think Pep has his best 11 in his mind, but I mean, he tries to, you know, swap the team around and rest players and stuff like that. Well, he won't be resting anyone for the Champions League final, so I think Chelsea beat us, obviously, in the FA Cup, but I think come the Champions League, they'll be playing our best 11, and I think that'll make the difference.
Where are you going to be watching it? Pubs are back open?
I don't know, to be honest. We're not really, you know, yeah, probably go in the pub. But I mean, I've got a group of about 20 mates, you know, that you know. So as long as we can get about 6 tables that are all pretty close together, so we can all, because we'd all like to watch it together. But it's a shame, first Champions League, and in an ideal situation, I'd like to have gone, but it's not to be. But hopefully, we've got Champions League football for a good few years now.
Is that table of 6 rule still apply after? Is it still going to be applied next week?
I don't know. We'll have to look into it, or maybe we can go round to someone's house. You know what I mean, and watch it or something like that. Depending on what the rules are, but probably the biggest game in Manchester City's history.
Party at Ricky's then.
Yeah, you never know.
Nah, thanks for your time. Appreciate it.